So, today we're going to talk about some of life's most uncomfortable truths. These aren't the lessons you get in a classroom, they're the rules you only figure out by actually living through them. Let's just dive right in.
It always starts so quietly, doesn't it? Life doesn't send you a memo before everything's about to change. You can look for a sign, you can search for some kind of heads up from the universe, but there's nothing. No notification, no dramatic music in the background. And then one day, it just hits you. The path you were on, it's suddenly steeper. Things that used to feel easy now have this weight to them. It's this slow, creeping feeling that I think so many of us recognize, but we almost never talk about it. And it's that very feeling that kind of forces us to face some really difficult realities. Which brings us perfectly to our first section, effort, results, and goodbyes. This is where we start to pull apart some of those big myths we're all taught about how the world is supposed to work.
We're sold this really simple promise our whole lives. If you work hard, you'll get results. Period. But the really uncomfortable truth? You can pour every single ounce of yourself into something. I mean, you can be the first one in, the last one to leave, and still feel completely and totally stuck. It just forces you to accept that the line between effort and outcome, well, it's rarely a straight one. Okay, this next one it's tough, but honestly, it can also be incredibly freeing once you get it. When someone walks out of your life, our immediate reaction is to blame ourselves, right? To go back and think, what did I do wrong? But what if it isn't about you being bad at all? This idea reframes that whole painful separation, not as a failure, but as a natural result of growth. People just change, and sometimes their paths simply diverge. It's painful, but it's not always personal.
And that thought process brings us to our next section, living in the in-between. And this idea, I'm telling you, this might just change the entire way you think about what happiness even is. So after all that, after talking about effort and relationships and change, what do you think is the single hardest truth of all to really accept?
And here it is. We are taught to view our lives like a movie's highlight reel. The graduation, the big promotion, the wedding day. We chase after these huge peaks of happiness. But this truth suggests that real life, the vast, vast majority of our time here, happens in the quiet, the ordinary, the sometimes messy moments between those peaks. It's the morning coffee, it's the commute to work, it's that difficult conversation you have to have. And learning to find some meaning, some contentment there, well, that changes the whole game. Realizing that leads us right here to the very specific and often unspoken challenges of just growing up. So, section 3, the pains of growing. This is all about looking directly at the discomfort that isn't just a part of getting older, it's actually a requirement. These are the things we almost never admit out loud. First, there's that weird paradox of adult loneliness, the kind you can feel in a packed room, that moment you realize some things you just have to carry by yourself. Then, there's the truth about healing. It's not some dramatic, cinematic montage. It's slow, it's repetitive. Honestly, it's often really boring. And finally, the big one. Real growth is supposed to feel uncomfortable. That friction you feel, that's not a sign you're failing. It's proof that you're stretching beyond who you used to be. So all of these separate truths about work and happiness and growing up, they're all pointing toward one massive, central idea that sort of reframes everything else. This brings us to the real core of this whole explainer, life's great indifference. Here's the crucial distinction. When we say life is unfair, we're kind of implying there's some cosmic scorekeeper who's actively choosing to rule against us. It makes us the victim. But if you reframe it as indifferent, you take away the malice. Life doesn't have a personal vendetta against you. It doesn't have a personal agenda for you either. It just is. And just to be super clear, indifference means total neutrality. The universe is not out to get you, but it's also not designed to save you. It doesn't owe you fairness. It doesn't owe you kindness. Now, I know, at first, that can sound incredibly harsh, but it's actually the key to taking your power back. Because once you really, truly accept that, you land right here, at our final section, the kindness we create. This is the powerful, practical shift. If we can't expect kindness to just fall from the sky, where do we get it? The path forward becomes pretty clear, and it's basically 3 steps. Step 1, accept that life is indifferent. Don't just hear it, really accept it. Step 2, because of that, stop expecting the world to be kind to you. Let go of that heavy expectation. And that frees you up for the most important step of all. Number 3, you have to take on the job yourself. You become the source of your own kindness, your own compassion, your own fairness. And so we end by taking this huge philosophical idea and making it a small daily practice. The universe might be indifferent, but you don't have to be, especially not to yourself. So the question isn't just some thought for later, it's for right now. How are you going to be kind to yourself today? Thanks for joining me.